Catwoman issue 32, Ram V writing with Evan Cage on the art, so we have a different artist for this issue. It is kind of a interlude issue in a way. We have Father Valet questioning one of Catwoman's associates, and it kind of dovetails into other characters talking about Selena. So Selena herself isn't really, I mean, she's in the stories that are being told about her, but she's not really in this issue directly herself. And it's all kind of the legend of Selena as told through others and what she's like. So the main story we keep coming back to, this like sort of this heist job in Sicily, I think it was.
Yep. Right.
We keep coming back to that, and it's this guy talking about how it's the first time he met her, and how she was kind of this, and this was before she was really full on Catwoman yet. So she had this fiery spirit.
She's just Selena from Alleytown, basically, and she's hanging around with the kind of the guy that runs it. What's that in like a group, like the point man, I guess. Like this was reminding me a lot of a Brubaker criminal issue, right? Like you just switch the names out, and this feels like one of those early criminal issues. But like the leader of this little gang brings her in, and everyone's kind of like, oh, who's this young chick, and why does she seem to have so much pull over this dude? And then they do the heist, and things go bad. And you know, Selena ends up to basically, I don't want to say it's the birth of Catwoman, but she starts to show some of her more Catwoman-y stuff here, where she sneaks in and basically gets revenge.
Yeah.
For it.
Doesn't kill the guy, just like ties him up, strips him down, and leaves him next to an empty safe. As the story goes. And we have other stories, you know, just or not even stories per se, but like the kids are all lined up because they mentioned last issue that Mayor Nicano was going to put the tighten the screws on Alleytown because of Selena's interference in some of their going-ons that she's not meant to be putting her nose in. And the corrupt cop who was in the previous issues, like sort of like basically mocking the kid. You thought you lost me that during that chase a couple issues ago, but I'm back now. And this becomes the kids having a bit of spirit and like talking back, and them saying, "Oh, we're going to get her. We're going to get Selena the Catwoman." And the kids just kind of laugh and say, "You're not going to get her here. You don't have any clue what this place is like." And this leads to a story of the past where Selena was a kid, and the criminals for always what's the name of the woman she worked for? Mama Fortuna. There we go.
Mama Fortuna. Yep.
Where basically they were going to use the maze-like tunnel system under Gotham to like get their stolen goods around, and the cops like showed up and like got some of them, but Selena they didn't get the map. The map was sort of lost in the fight, and Selena's down there with a bunch of the guys. They don't know their way around. They're getting lost. They're thinking they're never going to get out. And Selena's like, "No, I can get us to the drop off. We can go," and she does. And it turns out when she talks to Mama Fortuna, she actually memorized the map as soon as she made a point of memorizing it as soon as she got her hands on it. And she even did a dry run. She went down into the tunnels and made herself familiar with them before it ever started. And it's kind of showed her ingenuity, her planning. We talk about Batman's planning a lot, but this was showing that Selena kind of has a lot of that.
To borrow an internet phrase I'm not a big fan of, but it's why they're the one true pair, right? Like, they do bounce off of each other, is that they're perfect. They're the same. They're different sides of the same coin. Where sometimes Batman gives into his worse instincts, where Selena has to give into her better instincts, and that's where they meet in the middle.
So they're your one true pair. Does that mean you're also shipping them? Are you shipping?
No. I thought you were gonna make another joke there, but I'm glad you didn't.
Oh, you thought I was going south.
Yeah. Like Batman doesn't. Because he's a hero.
Allegedly.
That's what the people said. I'm just,
Yeah.
Dick's a hero. That's all I gotta say.
So the kids are telling this story to the cops, and it's it's this kind of defiant little moment, and I like the art on this page because the bright lights, the flashlights, and the headlights of the cars are just washing them out, so they're just completely covered in light, but it doesn't matter. They're still kind of defiant and still sort of saying that you're not gonna get Selena. You don't have a chance. And it sort of keeps coming back to the Sicily story throughout. And Father Valet said to this guy, "Look, we'll let you go. Like I'll let you go when you're done telling me what I want to know. I have no quarrel with you, effectively." And then the other cop who we've been following throughout this run, he goes to speak to Selena's sister and asks her questions, and just like before, we sort of dovetail into a story that she tells her about how when Selena as Catwoman took her place when Black Mask was torturing her. Which, by the way, I think the art in this issue is actually quite good, but I will say that is my most hated Black Mask I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, here's the thing. It's not that this art's bad, it's just not Fernando Blanco.
No, I actually think the art is mostly really solid.
But the art is really... If we had not been spoiled by Fernando Blanco over the bunch of issues, this would be like fantastic. Maybe, art of the week contender in parts. Then you see Black Mask and you're kind of like, okay, maybe not. I didn't even realize it wasn't Fernando Blanco really until the first couple pages in, just because I come to expect it. And I was like, oh, this is different.
I think he does a good job. The artist here does a good job of because the first few pages of Father Valet, torturing the guy, that stuff actually didn't feel that different. It wasn't until it started going into the flashbacks and the other stuff where it was starting to vary styles a little bit more. But this is a story of how Selena sort of took her place, and after she was being tortured, and then but obviously had a way to get out of the chains and sort of fought back and ended this, and watched Black Mask fall as he's sort of hanging off the edge of the window in the pouring rain, kind of thing. So
watch as each one of his fingers go.
Yeah. Again, the idea being that she always has a plan. She had a plan to get out of the chains and save her sister. And she even has this is actually a very Spider-Man pose. There's a panel of her in the city night jumping through the rain.
Yeah,
it's a very Spider-Man pose. You can almost draw in the webbing if you wanted to. But it's a good panel.
Well, it's like when he falls to so he can get elevation. Physics.
Yeah, I mean, because it makes this point here that her sister says the only thing Selena doesn't plan for is how what she does affects the people she cares about.
Right.
So there's always going to be collateral, and we're kind of seeing that in this story. We're seeing multiple people she's been with get interrogated. The kids are being arrested and abused by the cops. We're seeing the people she cares about be affected by her actions, but ultimately she's going to win. She's going to beat whoever's doing it because she always does.
Right. She's comfortable with what the losses are, even if maybe she's not, deep down.
Yeah.
So she has her plan, but in the short term, it's going to mess her up because we all know how the stuff with her sister affected her, right?
Yeah, and the cop asking this, I forget his name. Was it Nathan or something like that?
I don't remember.
This is one of these things. I never remember his name, but they always say it in the book, so I always just read it out of the book every time I need to remember it. But I didn't come up with this issue. But he's had kind of a weird sort of friendly rivalry with Catwoman. That's why he kind of followed her here. And she even her sister says to him, "Look,
it's Hadley.
Hadley, there you go. You might want to get away from her, for your own sake." The idea being that he's someone that is close enough to her now that someone might go after him to get to her. Not that he's the closest by any means, but clearly everyone around her is starting to feel the wrath of everyone coming after her. So, yeah. So, and then it finishes the Sicily story, and the book ends with Father Valet saying, "I told you I'd set you free," which to him meant stabbing the poor bastard and leaving him for dead.
To go.
And that's the end of the issue. So, really good interlude issue that kind of did a lot to sort of build up Selena, even without any advancement. But it's also heighten the stakes because everyone's all this is happening around her now. All these people are getting affected around her. So that was a good issue for building the heightening the drama of the story. It feels like things are really starting to kick off.
Right. And almost building the legend of Selena as we're getting, the Queen of Alleytown. But yeah, I also like that there's a lot of parallels that Ram V is drawing between Cheshire, Shoes at this point, Cheshire Cat and Selena. Just there's an image of as they're telling the story of young Selena, the same pose on Selena as there is for shoes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, so I like that. DC and Legacy go really well together. So
yeah, much like Taylor's Nightwing, there's a lot of like smart storytelling here, where clearly there's a plan in place for an overall story that it's going through. And again, hopefully this runs along. Assuming Ramvi's got the story, but even if this ends up being like a 12-issue run,
yeah,
with a beginning, middle, and end, this will be a fantastic like hardcover or something to recommend to people. Because it's very, very, very good. So yeah, that's done a lot to sort of heighten the current drama stakes of the story.
Right.
With everyone closing in on Selena and how that's affecting everyone around her. So now I'm anticipating. Now I can't wait for the next issue to see how Selena fights back. How does she claw back? What is her plan? What is her, what is her way to land on her feet? To use a cat metaphor.
There you go. And how many lives has she gone through? Right.
52.
Yeah, there you go.
That's my guess. 52. So, and they are, well, obviously it's a different artist, and it's does falter a little bit in places. Black Mask being one of the standouts.
Yeah.
It's generally still pretty good and does a good job of emulating the style that we've been kind of having in the book. So, what are you giving Catwoman 32?
I'm giving this an 8.
Yeah, I'm also happy to give it the 8 out of 10. So, good stuff.